This is Southern Cross News with Joe Palmer.
Doctors are warning overcrowding at the Royal Hobart Hospital is putting lives at risk, with a new study finding bed block at the hospital was among the worst in Australia. While the government has acknowledged there are still improvements to be made, tonight we can reveal new details about the extent of health staff overtime.
A level 4 escalation was once a rare incident at the Royal Hobart Hospital. Now, nurses say it is happening almost weekly. Staff receiving messages daily asking them to work an extra shift to cover increased demand.
Ultimately, the fatigue takes its toll. It affects your decision-making capacity, and you know that there's an increased risk of errors.
New data shows in the last 9 months, $19 million was spent on overtime hours. The nursing unions say sectors are dangerously understaffed.
Working incredible amounts of overtime and certainly double shifts up to 17 hours at a time obviously will start to take its toll in terms of the quality of care that's being delivered.
It's really hard to put into words the feeling of exhaustion. It is profound.
$30 million was spent on fill-in locum doctors and $6 million on agency nurses in the 9-month period, leaving medical professionals concerned about the continuity of care for patients.
If you know that patient already, you can see how having that relationship and that understanding of their health, their illnesses, their medications, you're going to get a much better patient outcome.
A new report is also revealing details from the Royal Hobart's Emergency Department, warning if urgent changes aren't made, it could result in errors and even death. It's calling for mandatory government notifications if a patient is stuck in the ED for more than 12 hours.
We certainly need to recruit more. That's why we've established a new unit to get the 1,300 additional staff into our health system that these budgets of ours will provide for.
Michelle Wisby, Southern Cross News.
A plan to fly tourists into one of Tasmania's World Heritage areas has fallen under the campaigning spotlight in the Braddon by-election. Labor says the bid needs to be more carefully scrutinised, but the Liberals say it's not an issue for voters.
Another day, another round of political tourists in Tasmania. Tony Burke was shoulder to shoulder with fishermen, trying to hook voters concerned over plans to helicopter hikers and anglers into a national park.
What needs to happen is the Environment Minister can't be making decisions on this without proactively listening to local anglers.
Riverfly 1864 is hoping to fly visitors to Hall Island in the walls of Jerusalem National Park for what it describes as low-impact activities, such as hiking and fly fishing. But not everyone is on side.
In a World Heritage area, you would expect to be able to get away from noise pollution, and air ambience will be taken away by the simple fact a helicopter will be flying in, destroying our experience.
In a statement, the company said the plan was undergoing assessment for the second time and welcomed public comment.
What I can say is the process has been appalling. And to think that these voices have not been heard is unacceptable.
The Liberals aren't taking the bait.
I have not heard that issue once. It's not an issue for Braddon. It's an issue that the state EOI has obviously brought attention to.
He was joined by the Resources Minister, who's digging in on claims Labor will lock up the Tarkine from mining.
What they do, both the Labor and the Greens Party, is they say we're going to do a little bit of locking up here, and then a few years later it's a little bit more, and then it's a little bit more. And you've seen that here in Tasmania with the forestry industry.
And it's not the time to be locking up more of Tasmania.
That got this blunt response.
Brett Whiteley has a history of saying stupid things, but even for him, this one is right up there, right up there. No one has ever proposed that the Savage River would be part of a National Heritage boundary.
Sean McComish, Southern Cross News.
The clock is ticking for homeless Tasmanians camping out at the Hobart Showgrounds, with the site set to be taken over by major events in the coming weeks. The Royal Agricultural Society boss says more people have been moved on to short-term accommodation, but others are still falling through the cracks.
With the snow settling in for the coldest part of winter, it's a rough time for Tasmanians without a roof over their head. The Hobart Showgrounds have been a temporary home for those caught up in the housing crisis. Now in the colder weather, most people here are swapping tents for caravans.
It's pretty cold out here. Today's a good day, but it's been pretty cold and we've had some big winds pretty consistently, a lot of rain, so I'm really not comfortable having tents here over these colder months.
Some have been helped into short-term accommodation, but around 15 people still camped out will have to move soon.
We're now at our busy part of the year. We've got big events coming up in the next few weeks. Our resources are stretched beyond belief, so we really can't do any more.
Service providers say this year they're seeing more demand for emergency relief. Last month, more than 500 people sought help from uniting centres in Kingston and Hobart. And a concerning trend, they're seeing a lot of new faces.
Almost half of the people haven't accessed our service before, and this indicates that a lot of families in Tasmania are really doing it tough.
Uniting is calling for Tasmanians to help with donations of non-perishable food, blankets and warm coats.
The more that Tasmania becomes colder, the more urgent the situation is. So we have a lot of people living in tents, sleeping in their car. They don't have those warm items, they don't have food.
Donations can be dropped off at Bendigo Bank branches. Michael Breen, Southern Cross News.
A Tassie swimmer is tonight preparing for the opportunity of a lifetime. Aran Miller will tomorrow board a plane bound for Canada to compete in the Down Syndrome World Swimming Championships.
At just 24 years of age, Aran has already represented Australia 4 times, a love of swimming propelling him to regularly break records.
I just love being in the water, just stop in and stop out.
It's the first time Mum Nada won't be joining the South Esk Club swimmer, but she'll be cheering from Oz as he joins 20 others from across the country. The butterfly swimmer, the only Tasmanian to make the team.
How does that make you feel?
Just really proud. Yeah.
Aran's already achieved multiple world titles in Italy and Mexico. Training for the last time this morning, the pair spent this afternoon packing complete with Aussie memorabilia.
Can be a bit of a load, isn't it?
Yeah.
Very proud of him and his achievements, and just being able to go to all different places where he never would have been before, never been able to go.
And after training for around 10 hours each week, Aran's quietly confident he can add another world title to the growing collection.
He'll be looking for a medal, but, you know, we'll just wait and see. Yeah.
Aran will return to Tassie on July 29, but medal or not, he's already a star. Jessie Gilmour, Southern Cross News.
A local winery has scored an impressive hat-trick at the International Wine Challenge in London. For the 3rd year in a row, Derwent Valley winery Stefano Lubiana has been recognised for its Ruscello Pinot Noir. It took out the award for the world's best biodynamic wine, which is a strictly organic and holistic style of producing wine.
So it's made without chemicals, it's made according to the principles of Rudolf Steiner. And so it's a wine that really shows its character, its home, where it comes from.
Stefano Lubiana is Tasmania's only certified biodynamic winery. The multi-million-dollar redevelopment of Launceston's Brisbane Street Mall is, despite inclement weather, running to schedule. A major part of the City Heart project has just been completed, and with less difficulty than some imagined.
As the city sleeps, construction workers are working around the clock, an overnight mission installing the largest part of the project to date.
There were some challenges bringing it in down the roads. Each half's 15 metres by 8.1 metres wide, so you can imagine bringing it down through the traffic lights and stuff like that, but the guys did an incredible job. Tas Heavy Haulage brought it in for us and backed it into site first time.
The 7-tonne structure made schedule on day 115, meaning the $5.5 million makeover is on track.
Things are just going gangbusters. We've got Baker Civil working around the clock to get this up and about, ready for the end of September.
The $19 million City Heart project also includes the redevelopment of the Quadrant Mall and Civic Square.
It's a state, local and federal government initiative, and again another example of when all tiers of government work well together.
And despite the disruption, most have been understanding.
To start off with, we were worried about the effect it has on the shop owners, and they've been fantastic working with us and us working with them to make sure we keep people at their doors.
We've got more and more people coming, and it'd be good for like a tourist attraction maybe.
I guess if they're putting money and effort into it, then it has to be a plus for the city.
Come along all right, good. Hopefully it's better than the pillows.
Oh, it'd be lovely somewhere to sit, and we'll enjoy the update.
Jessie Gilmour, Southern Cross News.
Now let's take a look at the day's business and finance news with thanks to Tasplan, your local super fund. The Australian share market has closed lower, coming under pressure after the US ramped up its trade war with China. The ASX 200 index has dropped by 42.5 points. A short time ago, the Australian dollar was trading at 74.06 US cents and 108.71 New Zealand cents.
Just days after the AFL's steering committee released its long-awaited findings into the future of Tasmanian football, the state government has started its own round of consultations with clubs and the Tasmanian Football Council. Premier Will Hodgman says the group will now work together on a preferred model to grow the grassroots game across the state.
Government should consult and engage with local football people. We'll consult, of course, with the AFL. I mean, my view with respect to the AFL is that it has to be a team approach. In the past, it's been clear that there has been a disconnect.
AFL Tasmania declined to comment. Adam Griffith will take over the reins of the Hobart Hurricanes for this summer's Big Bash season after the shock resignation of head coach Gary Kirsten. Cricket Tasmania says Kirsten has left for personal reasons but won't elaborate on the exact circumstances surrounding the South African's departure.
In his first season as Hurricanes coach, Gary Kirsten led his team to the final, but he won't be back to repeat the instant success.
He's done that for a very specific personal reason, which unfortunately I can't expand in too much more detail at his request. It's something that's become apparent over the last 4 weeks or so, which we've been working with him on.
Tasmanian Tigers head coach Adam Griffith is stepping into the void and will now lead Tasmania's men's team in all 3 formats. He was a senior assistant to Kirsten at the Canes in BBL 7 and says he's ready despite a short T20 apprenticeship.
I mean, everyone has a different style and how they approach coaching. Gary and I were a little bit different in the way we did things, but we also had some similarities. So, I think that's, as I said before, the continuity is probably going to be really important.
With the Hurricanes' BBL 8 squad all but finalised, Cricket Tasmania says it will now wait until after the JLT Cup before signing its final player.
Developing players just doesn't happen in 8 weeks. It happens over the whole course of the 12 months, and that's the exciting thing for me. Is I think we've got 14 players across both lists at the moment that we can continue their development on and off the field and just make them the best versions of themselves.
The Big Bash season gets underway in December. Andrew McCarthy, Southern Cross News.
The Launceston Tornadoes will continue its push for a Seaball finals berth this Saturday night, but will have to do it without star playmaker Lauren Mansfield. Mansfield is currently in China with the Opals, but coach Derrick Washington says he still has plenty of firepower available for the must-win clash against the Diamond Valley Eagles.
Against the Diamond Eagles, it's going to be a tough task. They're sitting 5th on the ladder. We're 6th on the ladder. And if we do win this game, we will be able to get in that 5th spot and keep aiming for that top 4 spot.
Tip-off is at 6:30. Some of Tasmania's most promising young lawn bowlers are taking time out from school holidays to tackle the Vicks in the Junior Test Series. The tournament provides a launching pad for bowlers who are keen to compete at a national tournament in September. And it wasn't all pleated whites and gentle applause at the indoor event as the next generation of athletes cheered on their respective home states.
We have people that compete and they could be ages gap from 12 to 90 and you can play and enjoy yourself. So that's what sport's about. It's about enjoying it and that's what we love about lawn bowls.
The event wraps up tomorrow.
Good evening. So much sport going on at the moment, I thought I'd better get involved. I've officially got World Cup fever. A shower or two brushed the northwest and far south of Tasmania today. Everything in between, mostly fine and sunny. Hobart and Launceston 14, Burnie 11, Devonport 13 degrees. Friendly Beaches, Campania and Strawn, the high of 15 today. Lake Leak, the low with -5. Low Head and St Helens 14, Flinders Island and Grove 13, King Island and Ouse 12, Smithton 11 and Lyawini 7. Low-level cumulus cloud moved over the state today. A little spattering of high cloud too. Not much to really pick up there over the north and south coasts. Frontal cloud extends across Victoria from South Australia. More cloud wraps around a low off to the southeast, and more cold fronts are moving over the Southern Ocean. Cloud drifted too over coastal Queensland and northern New South Wales. A large high-pressure system looks after most of the nation tomorrow. A cold front approaches WA with a surface trough off the coast. The winds east-south-easterly. They'll be at around 5 to 15 knots over the north, becoming variable over most waters, swells to 3 metres in western and southern waters. A mostly sunny Thursday for Hobart, 13 the top, 13 for Cygnet, morning fog and frost for New Norfolk, 12 degrees the high. Launceston, morning fog and frost, 0 to a top of 13, 13 also for Devonport, bit of early fog for Campbelltown, -1 to 11 the temperature range. Burnie mostly sunny and 13, 13 also for Strawn and Smithton, fine and sunny conditions. And for the east, partly cloudy for St Helens 13, bit of sunshine for Swansea, 13 also for Fingal. On Friday, showers over the west and far south, mostly fine and sunny elsewhere. Fine and partly cloudy on Saturday, maybe a possible shower over the northwest and west. And on Sunday, showers over the west, extending over the north, but mainly fine elsewhere. A sunny day ahead of a late shower in Perth, cloudy for Adelaide, a shower developing and 12 degrees in Melbourne. Shower forecast as well for Canberra, Sydney and Brisbane. Partly cloudy conditions at the moment, 7 degrees in Hobart, Launceston 7 as well, Devonport partly cloudy and 9. Yes, Joe, I'm putting my weight, which is quite ample as you can see, behind Croatia. I don't know why, but I guess I just like the colours.
It's not a flattering outfit on you at all. Thank you, Murph. That's all from the team. Have a great evening. I'm sorry you had to see that. Good night.